Okay, today's a little short video. We're going to discuss the ins and outs of packing stuff. I've got a few things here that have got to go out to a customer I did a bid representation for at a local auction. And there's two things that are here that are typically screwed up during shipment when you buy stuff off of eBay or whatever. For example, these two boxes. Sometimes if you ship the stuff in the box, it actually screws the box up. The box adds a lot of value to a collectible, so you want to be careful with those. All right, so I'm going to go through. This is going to be kind of a little bit less of me talking and more of me working this time around, because I'm going to be packing this stuff up. So we'll start with the wooden plane first. This is a plow plane. It's been completely disassembled. You need to be very careful when you disassemble a plow plane. You can actually break it taking it apart. If you cannot break it down like this, just make sure you use an extra large box where it's nowhere near any of the inside edges. And you can ship it whole. It's just not recommended. It's always recommended to break it down if you can. So starting off with the plow plane, I keep some paper around. That's the best start for that. I'm putting all this stuff in a large flat rate box, by the way. The large flat rate box is much larger than I need for what's here, but you always would rather have more room inside the box so that the stuff doesn't bang around and beat itself to death than have less room. So first things first, I'm going to wrap up this guy. So move everything else out of the way that's here, and then we'll go to that. All right, I typically will use these. You can buy these on Amazon. They're really cheap. They're little small padded envelopes. These are great for small parts. So first thing I would do is take some of my brown paper. In this case, I'll rip it in half. Don't need a full piece. And I apologize for the crinkling sound of the paper in the background. I'm sure it's probably loud. I'm going to take this guy. And wrap these two up first. That's the first two things I want to go into one of these envelopes. And again, this paper is inexpensive, guys. It's not that big of a deal. So for you guys that are out there selling on eBay, do yourself a favor. Get some paper, get some padded envelopes. The expense is not that big where it's going to cost you $1 million. All right, I'm going to take this and scoot this all the way over to the side inside of here since it's linear and skinny. And I can still get these other parts in there as well. So again, same thing with the paper here. In this case, I'm going to take these guys and put them side by side and roll them up. What you do is typically a little bit of a roll. I'll flatten this down. Hopefully you can see everything I'm doing here. I'll flatten this down, take these two, put them right next to it, and continue rolling the paper. That keeps them together and keeps them from bouncing around. Roll it up, grab to the end there, fold it over, fold it over. And I always squeeze down real tight just to get that nice and wrapped up in there. I mean, don't over squeeze it and break something, but just squeeze it down. And again, shoving it down in this envelope. Now, by shoving it down in this envelope, I'm doing two things. If these parts do happen to come loose during shipment, you won't have the issue of one of these parts flying out of the box. If the box gets broken on the corner, these parts are not going to fly out. They've been wrapped and then re-wrapped, so you have less of an issue there. And the paper is going to help that as well. All right. So that's good to go for that. These are delicate and too long for these envelopes. As you can see here, they'll stick out. But there is a solution to that problem. Again, you're going back to your paper again. We'll split this in half as well, or close to half. Eyeball it, doesn't really matter. And we'll lay one of these in. Lay one of these in here. Fold it again. So now I have an L shape going this way. I'll then turn this one going back the opposite direction here, getting into there, and continue rolling it. And keeps these together. Fold it over, and fold it over again. That's got that protected. Now, take this padded envelope here, shove this in one side. You'll notice it sticks out quite a bit. And that's perfectly okay. And I'll take this in turn this other one opposite direction. This part is facing this part, which is the adhesive that goes on there. I will then in turn take and slide this inside of this other bag. This is tricky. Sometimes it'd be easier to be an octopus, but take this, slide this inside of the other envelope until it bottoms out against the part. Put this over, peel the adhesive off. That keeps that in from sliding off. Okay, you can always back it up, which I usually typically do. Back it up with a little tape on the other side to prevent it from sliding. Again, same thing, right? So now take this and put this with this. Go here with the padded envelope again. This one I'm not going to double down because it's going to be wrapped up inside of there in another way. So, all right, take it. And roll this up. Everything should be wrapped individually. If you wrap everything individually, you have less chance of parts banging against other parts and ruining something that's valuable. And this is for a collector. He's going to want this to be getting to him the same way it got to me. So my job is to make sure that it's as close to the way I got it as possible. All right, take that and put that with that. All right, your next thing, or the next thing that I'm going to do, this is going to be in a few minutes. And wrap this up in a minute because I'm going to use cardboard for it. I'm going to take this guy and take it apart. Nicholas, I need you to grab the screwdriver. I'll get to this. All right, get to that in a second. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring down the screwdriver, so we'll actually go ahead and wrap up a level while we're waiting for the screwdriver to come down. Now, on levels, you always have to pack levels very carefully. Levels are so easy to break, it's ridiculous. Now, if you're looking here at this, what's going on here, you'll see that there's lines in the cardboard here. I'll accentuate one. You see there's lines in the cardboard here? And this is a little bit longer this way than the level is. So I'll take the level, kind of get it with the line, press down just a little bit on the corner. Don't go crazy on it, right? Take it, fold it again, and then now I can literally just fold the cardboard around the level. Just keep going, keep going. The more you can wrap around that level, the safer the level is going to be, right? And again, I use Home Depot boxes. They're inexpensive and they're readily accessible. Now, if you keep this nice and tight, when you put your tape on here, it actually will not slide anywhere. All right. Put a couple pieces on there just to make sure that there's no chance of it popping open in shipment. Now, I don't know if you can see inside of there, but the level is in a little ways, right? So if this happens to bang against the inside of a box somewhere, the level's not coming out of there. And it's going to protect the level from impact on the sides. Now, I will take a piece of tape and put it over each side of it just to kind of pinch it down to make sure that the level can't move. And that should, suffice for that. You can do the same thing on this side. The goal is, again, everything gets to its new home without any major issues. So now this is solid. This is very solid. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to get banged up. And these levels particularly are very, very fragile. They're cast iron, they're very thin cast iron, and they're highly collectible, but they're fragile. So these have to be particularly taken care of. You have to pay real close attention to that kind of thing. Now, since we're doing cardboard, we might as well continue doing cardboard, right? So take this guy here. I've got to be very concerned with this horn that's right here. This horn is in great shape on this plane. That horn can break so easily, it's ridiculous. So the front of the plane is not as much of a concern. It is a concern, but not as much of a concern. I'm going to slide this in right even with the edge of this box. And I did pre-cut all this stuff, by the way. So you've got your distance here from the edge. Now I will take and fold the bottom part down here. Again, going with the lines there and the cardboard. Wrap this around it. Keep it nice and tight, right? Now take your finger before the horn, and it should fold right up like that. Okay? Take and fold it again. That wraps that up. Keep it tight with your hands, very tight. The tighter you keep it, the better. Put a couple pieces of tape on there. You guys don't have one of these, by the way? Get one, they're awesome. Again, same theory on the ends here. I will not put a piece of tape across here. You never want to get packing tape on wood like this. Don't do it. On this end, however, if you can see inside of there, that horn's inside and protected. I'm going to squeeze this down just a touch, like this, and tape that closed so it doesn't slide out that way. Now, I have this end. The plane could actually come out this way, right? So we don't want that. So the solution to that problem is to take another piece of cardboard that's roughly the size of the box, like this, right? I'll take it, I'll cut this off on the edge. Listen, guys, even when you're professionally packing something, a lot of guys go through a lot of trouble to make it pretty, right? A collector doesn't give a crap how pretty your packaging is. What they care about is that whatever they bought gets to them safely. That's really all they care about. Don't go out of your way making packaging really pretty. We're not buying $800 purses here. You know, the guys that buy this stuff don't really have, the need for purses that I know of. You could very, very well pack an $800 plane, though. All right, so now this isn't moving around. It's protected always this way, right? So that's good. That's ready to rock and roll. I keep a couple of pieces of cardboard that are roughly about the size of the inside of the box I'm using. Roughly. Again, not the same size, but roughly about that size. So you can tier the inside of the box. And a lot of times I'll actually tape something like this to the center to one of these so it doesn't slide back and forth. The key is if it moves in the box, the way the post office, UPS, FedEx, the way they handle boxes is if it moves at all, it's probably going to get broken. You don't want anything shifting around at all during shipment. You don't want anything to be able to be crushed either. And both will happen. All right, so moving on to the next thing. This guy. Carefully disassemble this plane. This plane's valuable. It's valuable enough to be concerned. So. Do me a favor, go grab the painter's tape, please. All right. This frog's loose. It is what it is. Here, I'm going to crank this down to the bottom just so it's somewhat stabilized. I don't want to crank it down too far, especially on this plane, it'll actually break it. But just to kind of keep it from flopping around. All right, I'm going to use painter's tape and a piece of paper. On these guys. Take the piece of paper, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to retain that screw inside of there, right? Take the piece of paper, fold it over around it, and then just don't put the painter's tape directly on the finish if you can avoid it. If it's something that's a little less collectible, it's not that big of a deal. Something like this, I would not want to have the painter's tape touching an original finish. It's just not a good idea. Just wrap that up like that. Now the screw can't fall out of there. It's been retained now. Okay, same thing with the knob. Wrap that around like that. And again, take a long piece of painter's tape. You got to be careful too when you're packing up. Keep everything kind of together, because if you don't, you'll accidentally throw that wad of paper away. And let me tell you, that customer will probably not like you much, or that friend that you're sending it to, or whatever. They're probably going to be pretty upset. Finding a knob for one of these things intact and in the condition this one's in is kind of a task. All right, so now these two are good to go, right? This is going to get wrapped up next. Now, on something like this, on a stand rule iron, they're very hard to find. So I'm going to go through a lot more aggravation packing this up than I would pack up something like a Stanley number 4. So what I can do here is take, again, cardboard, right? Take it, lay this on the edge there. Wrap it over. Pretty simple, okay? This is now contained. I'm going to fold this down as tight as I can on the sides here. More packing tape. Now, going to this extreme is not always necessary. It is, however, good practice. It's just good common practice to do something like that. Remember, you don't want to get something from somebody that's damaged. That's just not something you want. You can even go and tighten this guy down a little bit. All right, wrap that up. Now, that's good. Take a padded envelope. Shove this guy down in the padded envelope. Again, loose parts. You don't want loose parts. That's now good, right? Now, if you were sending multiple planes of the same size, frog, iron, that kind of thing, like a couple of number 5s, number 4s, or whatever, mark the bag. Mark number 1, and then with whatever bag this goes in, number 1, and then put a little piece of blue tape on the sole of the other plane, you know, number 1, so guys know that, hey, number 1 goes with number 1, number 2 goes with number 2, number 3 goes with number 3. Just makes it easier when you get, as the buyer, you get the stuff back to you. Much easier. All right, so now go here, put the tote in, take the knob, shove it into the, well, actually, I'll show you outside of the bag here. So what I want to do is I want this to land just like this, basically, inside of it. So you could actually put it in at the same time, but it doesn't usually stay together like it just did there. So push the knob or the tote all the way down, and then press the knob down to it. Then take, shorten the envelope, right? Put the tape down on it. That's good to go now. Now that stuff's protected. All right. Your next thing, plain soles. Something this valuable you've got to go through the extra care on it. You just don't really have too much of an option there. So I'm actually going to use more of this cardboard yet again to do that. I'm going to wrap this up here. Again, press down, fold up, right? Slide that over to it, fold that into it, fold up again. The idea is to keep it tight like that, right? Make sure the sole, the end of the toe, is back a little bit. So in this case, I need to back it up just a touch. Probably about an inch should suffice. But it's not, it's not any kind of specific science on that. Just take it, whatever gets it nice and tight. That's how you want to go. If it's not perfectly square out on it, that doesn't matter. So I'll take this guy. Some good tape on there. And again, would help to be an octopus. Nice, get it nice and tight on there. Go here. Same thing, right? I guess I managed to nick myself. That's fun. All right. Take this piece of cardboard. Again, same procedure with the heel, right? Have it stick out about an inch right there. And for the guys of you that are selling on eBay, with eBay's fees and all the other stuff that's going on, you probably feel like I'm getting shafted every time I ship something, right? If you want to get in the game, get in the game. If you don't want to get into the game, I don't know, sell Beanie Babies. It's part of just being responsible. Somebody's going to pay you a lot of money for something. Man up, pack it right, ship it right, do it right. So, and I know, like I said, I know a lot of collectors that buy and flip stuff out so they can buy other stuff, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay. But typically, a collector that does that is going to take more care in packaging because they're a collector. They get it, right? If you're out doing weekend warrior, picking flea markets and stuff like that, and you're trying to maximize every penny, stick with standard number 4s, right? They break in the mail. Who cares? You're gonna get into the rare stuff. Learn how to pack, which is what this video is for. It's just to prevent guys from not knowing how to pack and really, really cool, valuable stuff getting busted in the mail. So now there's a big gap there, right? Inside of there, the sole's inside, but there's a big open air space. Squeeze that down, just like that, right? Put a piece of tape right there. That'll keep the plane from sliding out the end. There you go. See? Pinch down, held tight. Plane's not coming out of there. Same thing with the toe here. Squeeze this down, tape it down. Don't let that thing get any kind of opportunities to get out of there. As you can see, this is about as ugly of a packaging job as you can do. But the guy who's getting this doesn't care. He wants the plane, he wants it intact. That matters more to him than anything else. Now, moving on to the delicate thing, right? Let's move on to a boxed item. If this is cut loose inside of here with this box, it will destroy the box. Okay? That's just what it's going to happen. It's going to destroy the box. It is what it is. So, take the box, wad up some paper, right? Doesn't take a whole lot of paper. Gently wad up some paper and put it inside the box. Be careful you don't overstress the box and blow the sides out. This box is in so-so shape as it is. Don't want to make it worse, right? It's survived in this condition for all these years. Let's not be the one that destroys it the rest of the way. So now that's going to puff open. You want it to be like that. Go back and another piece of paper. Lay the paper down long ways. like this. Just like this. I'm going to move some of the stuff out of the way. Take your box, which is puffed open because of what's in it. Take your box, press it down gently. Press it down. Don't go crazy on it. Press it down. Don't just press it in the middle. Press it all the way across. Take your paper, right? Pull it tight to the box, and then roll the box. That keeps it compressed. If it's compressed inside there, there's less chance of damage to the box. I'll then take the box, it's kind of like you're wrapping Christmas presents. Take the box, fold that under, right? Keeps it from unrolling. Same thing here. Hold it under. You can put a piece of tape on here at this point if you want, but it's highly not recommended to do that. The reason it's not recommended is because when they go to cut this tape off, they may cut the box. Not a good thing. Let's lay that right there, out of the way. This box is extremely delicate. I've got to be very, very careful with this box. It's already in pretty rough shape. I don't want to make it worse. These little guys, sorry about that. These little guys will handle in a minute. Again, same thing with this box, except for understand something. This box is narrow, small, and already in a pretty rough way. So narrow out your paper, put it inside. Again, don't stress out the corners of the box or the sides of the box, right? All you're trying to do is just give it a little bit of fluff and a little bit of give inside, just in case something, I don't want to say impacts it, but goes to squish on it a little bit. You don't want that. Paper, by the way, available on Amazon. Not expensive and available on Amazon. If you ship a lot of stuff, it's worth the investment. Again, same thing here. Kind of press down on the box, squeeze it down, roll the box. On something like this where the box is kind of delicate, I'm going to roll a lot more paper around it, right? Yeah, that's good to go now. I don't know why I'm coughing so much this morning. Maybe I didn't have enough coffee. All right, now for the 66 frame, stick it right in the bag. Take this, fold it over to about there, rip it off, and just fold it onto that. Roll that up, squeeze it down, okay? Yes, the handle sticking out there, we'll address that inside the box itself. Let's take and put all these parts and components inside here. Actually, probably need to wrap those up a little bit. Cast iron against cast iron against saw plate, which is pretty much what the beaters cutters are. They're effectively saw plate material. I'll take these guys, lay them all out somewhat straight to each other, like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. Take it, roll it tight, right? Now these fences, and one of these fences is very hard to find. So you got to kind of be real extra gentle with that fence. Lay this inside of here. Same thing, right? Kind of roll it up, protect it. Now this customer knows what plane is what. If I put mixed parts together, he's going to be able to figure it out within seconds what goes to what. So normally I would separate, depending on the customer, I would separate this package from these components, but in this case I'm not too worried about it. The guy who's getting this is more than aware what goes to what. So now again, shove it back in the corner there, right? I'll take this fence here, roll it in as far as I can, so that this is sticking out as little as possible. I'll take that, put it inside of there. All right. Take these two pieces and roll them up inside of this. And three pieces, I should say. And do not lose these. Too hard to find. So fold that over on that. Go there. Again, just continue rolling stuff into itself, right? Wherever it fits, nested. Just keep rolling that up. Again, fold it over and bring it back around. The more you fold this up, the harder it's going to be for those parts to cut loose and get out of there. And again, I always kind of squeeze it down a little bit. Go inside of here. Now the key is I don't have any cast iron or any steel touching cast iron or steel. That's really, 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 really important. Because anytime you have that stuff, it's going to scratch it, it's going to break it, do all that, right? That part's good. Now, these love to break right here. That's where they break. So you've got to make sure that this is stabilized, right? You can do that a couple of different ways. Got, again, scrap cardboard is your best friend here. I got three pieces here. I can use these three pieces, which is exactly what I'm going to do here. Take this, put it right in the middle there, put this in the middle here, then you can tape it down. In this case, I'm not going to go that direction with it. I'm going to go this direction with it. And just kind of wrap it up. Again, you're just trying to protect what's here. Just prevent it from getting banged up. And this is the sought after Sargent Philister. It's a beautiful decorative piece. Try to protect it the best you can. It doesn't take much to do this, as you guys can tell. So just take the extra time and protect what's here. These are all scrap pieces of cardboard left over from shipments of other stuff. So it's not like it's costing me more money to do this. A little bit more time, so effectively money, yes, but not, it's worth it. If you care about the person you're sending the piece to, you'll do the extra work. It's not a big deal. All right? Take that, wrap it up. And there's no one way to wrap and ship, by the way. There's got to be 100 or 200 different ways to do this. And it's the way it all goes, right? All right, now we have everything that's going wrapped up and ready to go, right? So the next thing I'm going to do, you probably won't be able to see half of this. I'm going to take this box, this here, the big flat rate box, long piece of paper, shove it down on the bottom. Another long piece of paper, shove it right down next to it, right? Now I'm going to start resting stuff inside of here where it's not touching the outside edges of the box. Press it down in there. Now this I'm not going to put on the bottom, obviously, because if I press down, what's going to happen? I'm going to crush the box. I'm taking these guys and nestling them in next to each other. And again, not close to the outside edge of the box. And I take the padded stuff. Well, I'll do that in a second. I'm going to use the paper. I'm going to use the paper. Once I put the piece down inside the box, I'm going to use the paper to shove in around the outside edge of it so that if the box is impacted from the outside, it actually hits paper, not plane. I'll take some of my other firmer stuff here, rest it in on top of the other stuff. And again, this stuff is wrapped firmly. That's the key. Get it in as tight and as firm as you can. And it's at this point, it's kind of like playing Tetris. For those of you out there that are 80s guys, it's like playing Tetris. Get it in where you can. Protect it as you can. Right? Now this, you guys look inside of here, notice that this part of the handle has got a huge gap next to it, right? That's because it's exposed. I'll bring that over about there and I'll shove in stuff in beside it there. You'll notice that the box is bowing out a little bit. That's good, because you can always push it back in when you go to pack it back up. However, you know it's good and tight in there. Okay, now, getting down to the boxes, right? The boxes need to be rested in on the top and have a lot of padding around them, or they will get destroyed. Now, I need to actually put more paper in there, which I'll do in a few minutes off camera. But basically the idea is if you can shake the box, as you can, there's very little movement here as it is without finishing filling the top. So if you can shake the box and you can hear something sliding around or something moving, you need to add more padding. It's that simple. The less movement, the less damage. So, and if you guys have any questions at any point, like later on, feel free. Send me an email. It's oldhandtool@gmail.com. You can reach out to me in the contact section of the website at oldhandtool.com. Anything you may have questions about as far as what this goes, I try to do the best I can to help you out. All right? So enjoy. You guys will have another video coming pretty soon. All right, take care. Have a good day.